I'll try and be motivated because this is take 8 of the video in this room. I really hope it's the last take. I mustn't forget anything this time. We are standing in the front room, which would overlook the street if these blinds were open. Front room of the ground flat, or also known as the garden flat, and we're at an address 6A Herbert Gardens, which is in a district called Kensal Green, London, and the postcode is NW10 3B for Bertie, U for Uncle. And Kensal Green is part of a larger area known as Willesden, and that's part of a larger still district known as the Borough of Brent in northwest London. And I'm Ariel Moss, also known as Lionel Moss. The flat used to belong to my brother, dear brother, Tobias Moss, who had an amazing cab company, renowned, called Karma Cabs, K-A-R-M-A, K-A-B-S. And if you Google that, Karma Cabs or Tobias Moss, you'll find an amazing amount of stuff on the internet about him, videos, and he was a legend. So a hippie cab company in London. Well, the flat now belongs to my 3 children, one of whom, the youngest Joel, is responsible for letting this place on Airbnb, and I assist him occasionally. And sometimes we have long-term lets. So I'm going through room by room, explaining some of the key features of the room in case you get stuck and need some instructions how to operate something, which may not be covered in the printed manual, which I'll come to soon. Firstly, I'm standing in the bay of the bay window, which has got 3 components. This is the middle component, and here we have a Venetian blind, which most of you, I guess, are familiar with, but just in case you're not, in order to open this blind so we can see the world outside, we have on the left-hand side, we've got 2 cords. At the moment, the slats are tilted, so we can't see out. Pull the upper of the cords, the angle changes, you can see outside. Pull it further, it tilts the opposite direction. And reverse with the other pull cord, it reverses the situation. Let's leave it there so you can see outside a bit. Now, if you want to raise this to get more light in here and to get air by opening the window, you pull these 3 cords, which are on the right-hand side of the Venetian blind. Pull them down, and again, and let go while it's vertical. It will stay there. Now, you want to open the window. These are sash windows. The 2 parts, the far part and the near part, they're counterbalanced by weights in these columns. To open the window, you've got a catch here to undo and move out the way. And then you can close the window up, like that. We've got fresh air now coming in from underneath. Not enough fresh air, or rather not enough gap to allow an adult to come in. Only a small child perhaps could get in. But if you're going out, then do close this, just for added security. But this is a very nice neighbourhood. I'm sure no one will enter anyhow. And you can then lock this with this catch here. Now, what I forgot in the last video is to show you how to release the blind. Pulling this down, letting go, it still stays there. You've got to pull this down while coming to the side here, pull it at an angle and let go, then the blinds will drop. Okay, now underneath each of these blinds is a radiator fed with hot water, which is heated in the kitchen by a boiler there, and when I get to the kitchen I'll tell you about a quirk of that boiler, which hopefully won't show itself during your stay. In this room also, one of the surfaces, I've left some instruction sheets, information sheets for guests, and there's useful stuff in there. Do look it over and you'll be fully acquainted with the flat. And also in this room, this front room, there is telephone, which you're free to use, but you can't make international calls. And also there's the Wi-Fi modem hub. There's a repeater device partway down the flat, which will enable you to have a good signal if you're in a different section. information about that's in those information sheets. And finally, there used to be a desk in this room which had a lot of useful things in it. The previous long-term tenants didn't want it, so we had to get rid of the desk. But the contents have stayed in the flat. But not having any drawer to put them in now, they're in a nylon laundry bag, medium size, which is can be identified by grey and white stripes on the side, and it's in a cupboard in the hallway. I'll show you that later. And in there you'll find lots and lots of useful things which you might wish you had brought with you, and you'll be delighted to discover there is something in there, perhaps, which solves your problem. So do look in there. I think that's everything in this room. I really hope it is. I don't want to do a take, is it 9? Hopefully that's the end. I'll move to the next room. Thank you.